Hello and welcome to the Otaku Network podcast. My name is Steve.
And I'm David.
We are here with episode 2 of Weekly Ranma. I realized, unfortunately, during editing that in the beginning of the first episode, I was calling it Ranma Weekly, like in somebody who's not paying attention.
It's just like Say You Voice.
Say You Voice.
Voice.
Season 1 throwback. So episode 2 of Ranma 1/2, the 2024 remake, has Ranma being forced to attend school in what's probably the first time in many, many years. Due to the status of fiancé, Akane is forced to shepherd him to school. Contentious, interactions between them because they're both not happy about the situation. Ranma gets splashed with some water and transforms into girl-type Ranma, and not wanting to be any later than they need to be, Akane drags him to a local chiropractor, a Dr. Tofu, who has been a health practitioner for the Tendo family since Akane was little. Dr. Tofu introduces himself to Ranma, and Akane shows up with some hot water. Ranma realizes that Akane has unrequited love for Dr. Tofu. So with Ranma changed back to boy type, they head on to school, and Ranma gets a masterclass lesson in why Akane doesn't like boys, as the entire courtyard of the school is filled with all the boys' sports club members.
That's fucking ridiculous, by the way.
Who, on a daily basis, challenge Akane to a physical contest in order to win the right to try to date her. She defeats all of them while Ranma stands by in shock at just the ridiculousness of the situation. When the coast is clear, the final contestant shows up, an upperclassman named Kuno. Kuno is the rising star of the kendo team. Is a little incensed by the appearance of a man who is a little bit more familiar than we'd like with Akane. Ranma doesn't like the cut of his jib, and they start getting into it with each other. And the battle only ends when a sudden thunderstorm shows up, and Ranma is saved from everybody finding out his secret of transformation by his father, who, sensing danger, arrives immediately, dispatches with him post-haste, and transforms him back into a boy with a kettle of hot water. Miraculously, the thunderstorm ends right away, but Akane and Ranma are late to school due to all of this, and due to that, they are sent to the hallway for corporal punishment immediately after he introduces the new exchange student Ranma to the rest of the class. So we find out that Akane's older sister Nabiki is in the same class as Kuno, and they have a interesting dynamic to their relationship with each other. Before the fight ended, Kuno and Ranma made contact with each other. Kuno had bruised Ranma's neck, and in an instant, Ranma scratched "fool" or something like that into his
buffoon.
Yeah, into his forehead without him even realizing it. So Kuno is impressed by the martial prowess of this new rival for Akane's affection. Nabiki, being her mischievous self, doesn't hide the fact that Ranma and Akane are fiancés, which sets off Kuno, who then gets reprimanded by his teacher and told to go stand out in the hallway holding buckets of water. He complies, but immediately Superman transforms into his kendo outfit and runs off to go continue the challenge with Ranma.
I like how the random student's like, is he Superman?
Yeah, he walked into the broom closet in the back of the hallway, or in the back of the classroom, rumbled around for a little bit and came out completely transformed. While Ranma and Akane are suffering through their corporal punishment, Akane fills him in about why she has to fight all the boys every morning. At the beginning of the school year, Kuno had told the gathered masses that in order to win Akane's heart, who Akane is apparently the most desired girl in school, one must beat her in martial combat. And so every morning, all the boys line up with the hopes of beating her, and then she just whoops all their asses. So Akane hates the boys. Ranma's
I mean, to be fair, they try to beat her ass every morning.
Yeah, because they like her.
They're in fucking high school.
They are, yes. So Ranma's like, that's pretty fucked up. I kind of get it. Kane's like, I don't know, I always beat Kuno. I don't know what's going on. And Ranma kind of alludes to the idea that maybe Kuno is purposefully letting her beat him. Kuno then shows up, challenges Ranma to a fight. Ranma's like, sure, but we're not going to fight in the hallways. Let's leave the school. So they jump out the third-story window, Ranma being quite confident in his martial arts skills and Kuno being Kuno.
A baboon.
Jump out the window. Kuno then realizes the mistake because they're 3 floors up and starts freaking out. Ranma starts freaking out because they're going to land in the pool. So Kuno gets knocked out by the impact of the water. Ranma transforms to girl type. A moment of humility, I guess, crosses Ranma, and he realizes that if he doesn't do something, this idiot upperclassman is just going to die for a stupid reason, so he saves him. Kuno comes to, realizes he's still fighting Ranma, and begins to move into position and grabs one of Ranma's breasts. Kuno immediately realizes, wait a minute, something's not right. Ranma kicks the shit out of him and then flees. We know that Ranma transforms. We accept that reality. Everyone else in the world of Ranma 1/2 does not understand that reality. So Kuno's conclusion is Ranma somehow escaped and substituted a girl in his place, like a coward. Akane chases down Ranma to bring him some hot water, but Kuno's not far behind. So Akane challenges Kuno to give Ranma some time to transform, but it's not enough time, and Kuno comes face to face with girl-type Ranma. Girl-type Ranma doesn't want to deal with any of his bullshit and kicks his ass. And then they just leave school for the day, even though it's like half an hour into the school day. Like, Ranma's had a day.
I mean, if I had to beat some ass twice.
Yeah.
I think I'm done
the
with
same
day.
dude twice.
I think I'm done with my day if I beat the
pretty
same
much.
dude twice.
Not to mention the fact that he's now transformed 3 times within like a span of an hour, perhaps. Because you've got the transformation on the way to school, you've got the transformation at the beginning of school, and now you've got the transformation in the pool. So he's like, he's done.
Yeah, you're right.
Kuno is infatuated with this new girl and talks to Nabiki about it. And Nabiki's like, oh yeah, I know who she is. So Kuno gives a letter to Nabiki to give to girl-type Ranma, not realizing it's the same person. Ranma accepts the challenge, meets Kuno at the designated time and space, ready to fight in girl-type form, only to have Kuno confess his love to girl-type Ranma. And that's where episode 2 ends. So episode 2 of the remake combined episodes 2 and 3 of the original version. Okay. So episode 2 ends right as they're falling into the pool. And then episode 3 ends as Kuno is giving Ranma the flowers. There's some things that we missed out on that they excluded. They really just stuck to the main beats of the story. So I kind of like this truncated version of this event.
Okay.
Stretching it out to 2 episodes now after seeing it in a 1 episode format seems like a little too much. Now you've been introduced to Akane's situation at school and a problematic, self-involved upperclassman and Dr. Tofu.
You know, if I had to beat ass every day on my way to school, I think I would just change schools.
Akane is hard-headed.
I'd be like, fuck this. I don't need to beat ass every day. I don't care how strong I am. I don't give a fuck. I'd just be like, you know what? It's not worth it. Changing schools.
It's fair.
Fuck my friends. Fuck my classes. Fuck my teachers. I don't need it. I ain't having that shit. Wild.
You may not have been able to tell, but Kuno is really dumb.
No. Really? He's a fucking gorilla.
Yes.
To be fair, it seems like everyone in her school is just a fucking dumbass.
Pretty much, yeah.
Oh my god, it must be the same school from Shikanoko. Just everybody's stupid. It had a name change. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, again, I really like the way the direction of the artwork has gone. There were some aspects that I liked from the original version that they kind of did differently in this version that were a little sad. There's the pose that Ranma makes right as he's facing off with Kuno when the lightning flashes. The pose that he makes in the original one, I think, is more impactful, or it is more of a dramatic pose. Probably it's also just my nostalgia and familiarity, because I've seen these episodes so many times. I've watched the first season of the original Ranma. I don't even know how many times I've watched it.
A lot, it seems.
A lot, yeah. Oh, yeah.
More times than we can count.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm really enjoying the first 2 episodes of Ranma 1/2.
So I can't wait till next episode because we get one of the best characters in Ranma introduced, Ryoga. Ryoga's a lot of fun.
Is Ryoga a student?
I will not spoil anything for you.
You fucker.
I've told you, the only thing I've ever told you about Ryoga is that Ryoga has no sense of direction.
Because your friend, who you nicknamed Ryoga,
is the same exact
is
way.
the same way.
Yeah. So you'll have to wait till next week to find out what's up with Ryoga. And why I enjoy him as a character so much. So far, so good. 2 for 2. This has been a great, I like all of the stylistic changes they're doing in the show. They're just breathing more life into it, I feel. And it's really appreciated. I mean, obviously the original one came out 35 years ago. So there's going to be differences just from a production standpoint. I appreciate the choices that they're making to enhance the story.
It would be cool to see some of the older animes get these faithful of reboots. I'm kind of excited to see how the One Piece reboot does.
That starts next year.
I know it does.
I believe.
I'm kind of putting off watching One Piece until that reboot comes out. And then I'll just start watching One Piece from the reboot. That's what Bridget kind of told me to do, because it would take for fucking ever to watch all of One Piece.
Depends on your conviction.
I'm writing a thesis. I have none.
So this is the second remake of a Rumiko Takahashi series that's come out in the past couple of years. In the spring, I believe it was, they wrapped up the remake of her original series, Urusei Yatsura. I'm not as intimately familiar with that series and didn't take the time to watch the remake either, so I don't know how much story they covered.
Now they just need to do Maison Ikkoku.
They need to do Maison Ikkoku.
And then you'll cry and...
Oh, I'll be so happy if they do it.
You know, you'll shit, piss, and cum all at the same time.
I don't know about that.
No. With how much you talk about that anime.
To me, it's one of the best romance anime. The story is great. It's a lot of fun.
We did get a reboot. It's just called Astronaut.
Astro, yeah. So the original Maison Ikkoku was 4 seasons.
I should rewatch Astronaut.
You should rewatch Astronaut. Thank you again. Episode 2 of the weekly Ranma. And don't forget our normal podcast where we review 3 brand new shows for the current season. Suma Shogakuse Ninaru, Bloomy Bureau coming up next week because that got delayed. And then Orb on the movements of the Earth. So the regular podcast comes out on Wednesdays and the Ranma podcast comes out on Fridays. And then as soon as I take the time to do the editing, we will have another side quest episode coming out talking about Ninja Scroll. All right. Well, thanks again for listening. Do not forget to like and subscribe, comment, find us on various social media platforms, harass us on Discord in the comment section of...
Harass us on YouTube too.
Yeah.
I don't know. The more you guys interact with the videos, the more it shows up on YouTube's algorithm. So like...
Yeah. Well, and I just like interacting with people.
Fair.
I like discussing anime, as you
also,
can't tell.
If we can grow the otaku family,
Sure, of course.
we can, 100 years of otaku.
Thanks for listening once again. And we'll see you guys next week.